You're listening to a Pave Media show.
Visit pavemedia.net for more podcasts and video entertainment.
So, John, you've been on a diet of poo potatoes and rationed protein supplements for about 12 months. You then spent about 10 months on a cramped spaceship. What's the first thing you do when you arrive back on Earth?
When did I leave?
A year and a half, 2 years ago?
Oh, okay. So in
16?
2016,
20, yeah, whatever, yeah.
I don't know, probably turn on the news and go, fuck, Brexit's still going on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What would you do?
I would probably go straight to the nearest Apple store and see what's currently there.
Of course you would.
What an upgrade it would be.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome everybody to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where we pitch prequels, sequels and spin-offs to films that don't have any. I'm Harry, and joining me as always is John.
Hello.
And this one's my choice this week, The Martian.
It was, yes.
I believe there's going to be a lot to unpack about this film. So
I would think so, yeah.
So we'll try and keep it brief, but we won't. Mm-hmm. What did you think of it?
I really had a good time with this film.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I went in with middling expectations.
I thought you would.
Yeah, because I saw that it was like 2.5 hours long, and I was like, oh man, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I watched it like in the morning because I ran out of time, so I had like very little time to watch it, so I was kind of just not in the right frame of mind to enjoy a film, and ended up being really engaged by it.
So you watched it in the morning?
Yeah.
Wasn't like you.
No, well, I may or may not have been up all night on the Nintendo. And then it was like, oh shit, it's morning. And I need to watch this film. So, my sleep pattern's been weird recently.
Yeah, I've been away for 2 weeks, and I mean, obviously I've not seen John in 2 weeks, but neither has any of our friends, because you bought yourself this Switch and it seems to be your new boyfriend.
It has taken over my life a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to save Hyrule. It's,
Yeah.
you know...
What are you going to do when you run out of games?
I don't know, walk outside. There's part of me that's really looking forward to that.
What, going outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah.
Well, you say it was 2.5 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this film is one of the rare occurrences where it's a film that's like, this has justified being the length that it is. It is a long film, but it's 100% worth it.
It's very well paced.
There's not a thing I'd cut out of this film to try and make it shorter. It's not a film where I'm like, well, if it was 90 minutes, it'd be better.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think the pace is very good. I would say, there's some bits in the middle that you could definitely cut. Like, there's a whole, 40 minutes when Matt Damon's just not in the movie, in the middle, and I know it's important to, build up that plot.
I think that's one of the film's strong points, not that 40 minutes specifically. I don't really know what you're talking about, but the fact that it's not a one-man show.
No, I'm glad it's not a one-man show.
This film could have very easily been a one-man show.
Yes.
And yeah, he's the only person on the cover. Mm-hmm. But I think this film it's an ensemble cast, definitely.
It is, yeah. No, I appreciate that about it, definitely. I don't think it should have not been that. Because I'll be honest, all I knew about this movie going in was that Matt Damon was stranded on Mars, and there's something about potatoes. I'd heard something about the potatoes played a key role in this movie.
Wasn't there just?
Well, and they did. I was not disappointed on the potato front. But that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I knew Kristen Wiig was in it as well, because I remember from the trailer thinking, this looks like a really serious movie. Why is Kristen Wiig in it? Which I'm still not entirely clear on, but we'll get to it. I did think, is this going to be like Castaway?
Yeah. It has elements of that.
It's like Castaway, but not boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that it was very, well paced. I really appreciated the tone of this.
Yeah, I was wondering, when that's what I thought was going to turn you off, and I realised while watching this, I think this is now my second or third time through it, that this is a film that I'm guessing either people really like or really don't like.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I see the majority of people seem to really like it. I know from my listener submissions.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a kind of humour that I could see being really annoying. I'm going to science the shit out of this. Mm-hmm. It's an awful line.
See, I liked it though because...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I felt like this film respected the intelligence of the person watching it, of the audience, because it got really close to being Joss Whedon-y. Mm-hmm. And I like Joss Whedon, but it did, sometimes his stuff is a bit like quick, quippy, quick. And it's a bit that, but it didn't feel like he was stepping out of the character too much. Like sometimes you see those, a lot of like sci-fi and action films, the characters will just be like cracking sitcom jokes, and it just feels like out of place.
Yeah.
Whereas this just felt like, oh, he's trapped in space, but he's also a person and he has a sense of humor, and it felt kind of consistent. And I kind of believed that was just the character, that he was just like was a bit of a nerd. You know, he's a scientist. I mean, albeit a nerd who looks like Matt Damon, which was a stretch, but ultimately he's just this big old scientist in space, and he is kind of enjoying sciencing the shit out of everything. And I like a film about smart, intelligent people solving problems in an intelligent way that doesn't require an alien invasion or a ticking clock, or you know, it's just like, oh, here's a problem, I'm going to solve it. Because one thing I did notice is that the stakes in the film aren't that high. I mean, it is life or death.
Yeah, they're high for Matt Damon, but it's not. But it's nowhere near the end of the world.
No.
And something that somebody pointed out to me after watching this, or some internet article pointed out, this is a quite, not, I don't know about a serious action movie, but it's a big action movie blockbuster where nobody dies.
That's true, nobody does die, do they?
It's great.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
And there's no villain or anything, like nobody...
That's what I mean, there's no stakes in that sense.
The only villain is the weather on day one.
Yes, exactly. If he dies, he's going to die of natural causes, or worst case scenario, he's going to explode.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't overly sell the peril. Like at the beginning of the film, it's like kind of goes through all the ways he could die, and it's like, holy shit, this is really dangerous.
Yeah.
But then it just kind of, it doesn't forget about it, but it doesn't like bang you over the head with it. He doesn't have too many near-death experiences. It's just kind of like, well, he's figured out how to survive, and now he's just trying to solve all these other problems about how to communicate. And like,
which I just loved all of it, because they did it in such a way that they blended humor with seriousness so well. For example, that time when he's trying to make water, and first time he does it, it explodes in his face, and it's hilarious the way that he just then sits down in front of the video log and he is smoking. It's just great. Like, it's just pure humor, but done in a really good way.
It was just on the line.
It's not too on the nose.
It was just on the line of just almost. There were so many times when it could easily have just gone too far in one direction or the other, but it just managed to stay at a level that I could really enjoy it.
So yeah, I blew myself up. Best guess, I forgot to account for the excess oxygen that I've been exhaling when I did my calculations. Because I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to work here just as soon as my ears stop ringing.
So, do we need to do a plot summary for this?
I think you should. You don't need to necessarily go scene by scene. Just
but I think afterwards I'd like to go character by character and just talk about each person.
Yeah, we'll do however you want to.
The character is also well written. So essentially, Mark Watney is a member of...
Played by Matt Damon.
Played by Matt Damon, is a member of 6 crew on the Ares 3 mission, which they've built a colony on Mars. I don't know if you call it a colony, actually. They've been there 18 sols, which is, I believe, 1 Martian day.
I was confused by the sols thing, because I don't think at any point they kind of told you how long a sol was until the end of the film. So that meant that the use of time I couldn't really follow. So I was like, well, how long's he been there?
Well, yeah.
How many sols? What's a sol?
Do you know how long a sol is? I think
in the end it said he's been up there for 2 years or something.
Did they?
Something like that. Was it a year, 2 years? He was there for
actually,
a while.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was. Okay, that might be right. Let me just look up how much Martian day length is... Oh, it's very close. It's 1 day, 37 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty much the same. They're saying sol, but it's... Yeah.
They could have just said days.
Cool. What was I doing?
So, yeah, he goes up...
Oh, yes, so I was doing a plot summary.
Yes.
And so they're on a mission that they're supposed to live on Mars for like a month or two.
Oh, is that what it was?
It's unclear. Like, just do some survey missions and stuff. They'd been there 18 days, I think. A storm hits... which is quite significant, and it's going to tip over their launcher. So they all go to the launcher. Meanwhile, Matt Damon gets skewered by the only communication satellite, which seems like something they should have thought of.
Sure.
You know, if that one thing breaks.
Oh, was that the only... I missed the fact that was what hit
him.
Yeah,
I only picked it up this time. That it was.
So how was he communicating with them later?
That's when he went and dug up that smaller sort of pyramid-shaped thing.
Oh, okay.
That was an old communicating probe.
Oh, fair enough.
It's like a Mars rover sort of thing.
Okay, sure, great.
From decades ago or something.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so the rest of the crew managed to escape on the rocket and go up and dock with their ship in orbit and head home, presuming that Matt Damon is dead.
Yes.
And then we cut down to NASA, and Jeff Daniels is doing a press conference just saying, like, yep, Matt Damon's
A
dead.
very blunt press conference.
I loved it. He was so confident, it was great. Just like, you're going to retire? Nope.
No. Well, there's two. There's the one where he just gives multisyllabic, no, not multisyllabic, the opposite, monosyllabic answers to everything. It's just like, nope, yes.
Well,
Where
because people were asking stupid questions.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, he's still a professional. You know, you've seen press conferences with politicians; they always waffle. You know, they never give a straight answer. But it was more the first one when he is announcing that the incident has happened and that one of the astronauts has died, and he just does it in such a hilariously blunt way.
Yeah.
He just kind of says, "Just to confirm, he is dead."
Yeah.
And he just keeps repeating. He just says, "He's dead."
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredibly blunt.
At around 4:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, our satellites detected a storm approaching the Ares 3 mission site on Mars. At 6:45, the storm had escalated to severe, and we had no choice but to abort the mission. Thanks to the quick action of Commander Lewis, astronauts Beck, Johansson, Martinez, and Vogel were all able to reach the Mars ascent vehicle and perform an emergency launch at 7:28 Central Time. Unfortunately, during the evacuation, astronaut Mark Watney was struck by debris and killed. Commander Lewis and the rest of her team were able to intercept safely with the Hermes and are now heading home. But Mark Watney is dead.
So, yeah, they all assume that he's dead. They have a state funeral for him and everything. And then at one point, one of the NASA workers who happens to be looking at the Ares 3 base sees that their vehicle has moved.
Yes.
It's now parked in a different place because Matt Watney up on Mars is actually alive, and he is now surviving somehow, doing these video logs and trying to work on his survival plan.
Yes.
He's worked out how much food he's got and how long it's going to last him. He also then works out he has potatoes, and so he needs to find a way to germinate potatoes to grow more potatoes, because that's how potato farming works.
Yeah.
He needs some soil, doesn't really have workable soil, uses a mixture of Martian soil and his own poo.
Yeah. And everyone else's poo.
And everyone else's poo, yeah.
Yeah.
To germinate these potatoes.
Well, because he's a botanist.
Yes.
I never knew until This and Sunshine that all space missions featured a botanist.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Apparently.
somebody's got to take care of the plants, and the plants provide the oxygen.
Well, I guess true. Yeah, I just didn't realise it was such a big thing that botany was a big part of space exploration. But I guess
In sci-fi.
sci-fi films, it is, yeah.
so far it's, in our real life space travel has not got to that level that we need plants for long-term spatial flights.
True. Yeah.
Like the International Space Station is I assume the biggest or most serious
Well, that's what I got.
spatial equipment that we've got, and that just gets restocked.
Well, that's what I was thinking. This film made me wonder, like, does the International Space Station have a botanist?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
So Matt Damon makes poo potatoes, lives off them for a while, gains communication with NASA through a probe that was left on Mars a while ago. Back down on Earth, Donald Glover seems to be crazy, just living off coffee or something.
Oh, Donald Glover was my least favourite part of this movie.
Okay, cool.
I really like Donald Glover. Like, I really like him in most things. He was in the wrong film.
Do you think?
He was in the dumb sci-fi film that I was relieved this film wasn't.
Yeah, that's true.
He's only in like 3 scenes, thank God. But the bit where he walks into the big meeting with Jeff Daniels, who's like the head of NASA, and just starts like throwing pens around and going pew pew pew, and I was like, oh my God, it's like he's in the sketch parody of this film.
Yeah, that scene did feel a bit out of place, because that was very much explaining a very simple thing.
Yeah, that they would clearly already understand.
Yeah. Like they're the big people of NASA. Like they understand slingshotting around things.
Yeah.
He could have just walked in and said, "Yeah, so we take the ship that's already heading back to Earth, do one slingshot around Earth, stock it, and then send it off to Mars to pick up Matt."
He was just different film. He was in the version of this film that was directed by Michael Bay, I think. Also, I don't know if you picked up on this, the scene where we roll the coffee.
Yeah.
When he's just downing cups and cups of coffee. He's in a room with the classic sci-fi, I'm the science nerd who's going to save the day, blackboard full of maths equations.
Yeah.
Just covered, and he's like asleep under it. And in the corner, I paused it because I was like, oh, this looks ridiculous. And in the corner of it literally just says, science, and an exclamation mark.
Did it?
Yeah.
Great. Oh, I love that attention to detail.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he comes up with a plan. I mean, it shouldn't have been him that comes... It wasn't a difficult plan.
No, that was the other thing. It
shouldn't-
felt like something they would have landed on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they decide to do that plan, which means they need to very quickly build something that can go and send some supplies up to the ship as it orbits Earth. They try and fail because they rush it, but then the Chinese, well, I watched it without subtitles recently, so I forgot what they said, but the Chinese, I believe, had the technology to do it, and so just said, yeah, you can have that.
Yeah, it's a nice optimistic view of the world in which all the countries work together.
Yeah, and so then it pretty much all goes to plan. Matt Damon drives away to, I believe it's the Ares 4 launcher that's just there waiting for the Ares 4 mission to begin.
Is this the next mission that's scheduled for Mars in 4 years?
Yeah.
So essentially the stakes at the beginning are he has to stay alive for 4 years to have any chance of being rescued whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they've sped it up, obviously, because now they know he's there. So
yes, and they've been able to communicate with him and stuff. Yeah, so he makes his way over there, by which point he has a body double. In which he's very much not Matt Damon anymore, but he's only shown from the neck down.
With a towel over his head.
With a towel over his head.
Oh,
yes.
that was funny. Because I was thinking, so the whole thing is...
I mean, it was good, it needed it, because there was an obvious time jump at that point.
Yeah.
And it would have been weird if he was still looking as fit as Matt
No,
Damon.
that was because I was thinking it, because they make a whole thing about how he has to halve his rations to survive, because his potato farm explodes. So he doesn't have much food, and he's having to live on like these little stock cube size like things. He's got like one of those a day of provisions. So
Like a third of one of those a day.
Yeah. So I was kind of thinking to myself, oh, he should be like really emaciated by this point. And then you see a back shot of him looking really bony. I'm like, oh, they did it. You really did. And then it's like, oh no, that's not Matt Damon at all. So he just puts it's so obvious. Like they just put a towel over his head. He steps out the shower. The thing that really made me laugh is that like his face just obviously hadn't lost any weight. Like, it was like it was Matt Damon. Like it was Matt Damon.
He looked grim. Like he'd stopped trimming his hair and beard.
Yeah, they just made him look a bit homeless
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Apart from doing the Iron Man stunt, he seemed pretty with it.
Yeah.
So why he just let his hair and beard grow out so much? He
had to look crazy.
I don't really know. Yeah. I mean, he also clearly ran out of toothpaste, which wasn't so pleasant to look at.
No.
So now I have to hold out until the probe gets here with more food. You want to see what minimal calorie count looks like? Standard issue.
Yeah, so he makes it to the rocket, and he has to take a lot of it apart to shed some weight because of reasons. Well, the reasons they gave were like the ship with his crew on it that's coming to get him. Because it's going to be arriving at such speed due to their supplies or whatever, it's going to be in quite a high orbit, and he needs his ship to go much higher than it's designed to do. So they just lose all the excess weight from it by throwing out 5 of the 6 chairs, and all the windows and doors and the nose of the ship and everything.
They basically cover it in a tarp.
Well, they literally cover it in a tarp.
Yeah. Which is this film was very good at like without being over dramatic, making you think, holy shit, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like there were so many times where like, Jesus, he's going to space in a. Well, I think they say they send him to space in a tarp. I was like, my God, that is really terrifying.
Yeah.
Like there were many times when this film scared me, and it's not.
But like,
it's not like a scary film.
But also, I love how well they explained it.
Yeah.
When they were saying just like, well, the pressure's lower, the gravity's lower, and so by the time that it would be a problem on Earth, there's not enough air for it to be a problem. So yeah, that's just fine. That can work.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's true or not. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson came out after this film and said, yep, pretty much all the science in this is accurate, apart from that storm at the start.
Yeah, apparently the storm wouldn't have been a thing because apparently the gravity is different on Mars, like the pressure. So
There just wouldn't have been a storm big enough to knock over a rocket.
No.
like that.
I think there were a couple of little things, yeah.
I fully respect the film for still doing that, because without it there would be no plot.
Yeah, exactly. I think they did as much as they could to stay scientifically accurate.
That's the Phi in sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, then he gets up and manages to get on board the ship, and happily ever after.
Yeah.
And then we cut to, like, I don't know, 20 years later or something. And
he's got terrible hair.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? And he's now a teacher at NASA or something.
Yeah.
So that's
the plot, yeah.
That's that. Now, so what do you think of each character? We talked about Sean Bean a little bit. Let's just delve into that.
Okay, so yeah, Sean Bean is in this as one of the main NASA people.
I think he's the head of the Ares missions.
I just thought it was funny how Sean Bean just didn't even try for an accent.
Yeah.
Just was not even trying for an accent whatsoever. He was just, head of NASA is British.
Yeah. Well, he's not head of NASA.
Well, yeah,
head of the
high up
those
in
missions,
NASA, but also full-on Yorkshireman.
Yeah.
Ned Stark is basically running NASA at this point.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that's different about these characters.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, he didn't die.
Yeah, that was something.
He did get fired, which I guess was the closest that character could realistically have gotten to dying.
I was really hoping that there was going to be a joke at the end, because this film is great for montages.
Oh, it does have a good montage.
I loved the montages in this film. And there's one at the end where I forget what song they're playing, but he has now left his job and he's playing golf or something.
Oh, did you think he was going to clutch his chest and just keel over?
I thought it was just going to be a shot of his grave.
Oh, really?
It would just be hilarious.
That would be good, yeah.
It would. Even if you don't know Sean Bean as this guy who dies in all the films, it would just be like, whoa, that's a weird tone.
Yeah.
But just like, yeah, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Annie will go before the media this morning and inform them of NASA's decision to reroute the Hermes to Mars.
Sounds like a smart move, considering the circumstances. Whoever gave them the maneuver, they only passed along information. Crew made the decision on their own.
You may have killed them, Mitch. We're fighting the same war. Every time something goes wrong, the world forgets why we fly. I'm trying to keep us airborne. It's bigger than one person.
No, it's not.
When this is over, I'll expect your resignation.
I understand.
Bring our astronauts home.
What do you think of Jeff Daniels then? So you've already said you love all his monosyllabic tones. And...
Yeah, well, that was pretty much all he did. He's the closest the film has to it. No, it's too harsh to call him a villain.
Yeah, because he's working to the same goal as well.
Yeah, he's more... It did make me think...
He's just doing it a bit more realistically.
Yeah, exactly. He's the voice of reason in many ways.
Yeah.
Because I just find myself thinking, like, how much... If this happened in the real world, like, the cost of saving a single man's life, what would happen? Would they do it? Would they not? Like,
well, NASA is probably at that point putting its entire budget into saving him, because if they're seen to not even try, then they're never going to get a budget again.
Sure.
That's pretty much the point that he was making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I bet you if it really
just like
happened...
publicity is a major thing for NASA, because if people don't believe in it, then like, well, why do we fund it? What's the point? It costs it costs a lot, and what do we get from it?
Are you saying NASA is like fairies? If you don't believe in them, they die.
I guess, yeah.
Is Jeff Daniels Tinkerbell? Is this your
yeah,
theory?
Pretty much.
Okay, sure. But I was just thinking, like, if in the real world, if this happened, I bet there'd be loads of protests. People would be like, well, all this money could save thousands of lives back on Earth. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be a real debate. But
those are, I assume, protests that happen anyway. When we're doing, things like the International Space Station, when we're planning missions to the moon, sending probes to Mars, and eventually sending people to Mars, all that money could be gone to, stopping many, many problems here on Earth. So, yeah, that's a problem currently, and it's not something they really touch on in this film.
No, they don't, yeah.
But then it becomes a very different thing if it's, we've sent someone to some place and now we're just going to let them die.
Yeah.
Quite intentionally.
That's true.
Definitely something.
Mm-hmm. But no, the film did really well to set up quite a few little moral quandaries, because they also have... so the crew of the ship that leave him, obviously it's going to take them several years to get back to Earth anyway, and they're on their way home.
Several months, but yeah.
So several months, sorry, to get home. And so Jeff Daniels, at a certain point, when they find out that Matt Damon's alive on the Mars, he makes the decision not to tell them that he's still alive, because he thinks there's nothing they can do to help him, which is true at this point in the film, and he just thinks it would distract them. And it's a lot of the other characters argue with him, but I kind of thought, well, maybe he's got a point. Like, maybe it's not helpful for them to know that right now.
Yeah, I think he does, but also, well, what are they going to do? And also, distract them from what?
Well, he says their focus needs to be on them getting home safely.
I mean, I don't know what's involved in flying a ship in a straight line from Mars to Earth, but I'm sure that it's not like a load of work for 5 people to be doing.
Oh yeah, anyone could do it. We could do it. Easy.
Well, it
drives itself.
Well, like they say that there's some minor course corrections and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, how distracting can it be to?
Well, maybe he thought that they do what they do end up doing, which is try and go back for him. Maybe he was like, well, we don't want to give them that option.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
But like, even then, they can only do that with a considerate amount of NASA's help.
True. Yeah.
Restocking, for example.
Yeah. No, I just thought, I'm not saying I agreed with him, I just thought it was interesting that it had set up this kind of, without having like a villain.
Yeah.
Like a dumber movie would have been like, oh, he's the evil villain, the corporate shill, the pen pusher, and he'll just be like, money and process over human lives, and everyone will have to like somehow defeat him. But it wasn't that. It was just he was just putting a counter argument forward, but ultimately they decided on other things. So I just thought it was interesting. Like, it was a thinker. So
okay, so other characters that I'd like to talk about. The actual crew themselves.
Yeah, the crew.
What do you think of them?
All way too pretty to be astronauts.
It's a movie.
I know. It just makes me laugh when it's like Jessica Chastain, she's always in films. She's always like a captain or something. She always seems to be like in charge.
She's a very commanding
person.
person.
Yeah, she's good at like. I think she's got like a deep voice. She's good at like that barking out commands.
Yeah.
I was watching this thinking, if your career went a little bit south, you'd be really good on Star Trek.
Yeah, she really would.
She'd be a good captain on Star Trek. Right,
She'd be a great captain on Star Trek.
Should be. I mean, she wasn't a great captain on this, but she would be a great captain on Star Trek.
I think she was pretty good.
I think she made some terrible decisions.
Like what?
Well, she should have left straight away. Where, like at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of times she
hesitated way.
Yeah,
too
I'm
long.
spoiling one of my drinking games, but one of them is just drink every time she needlessly puts people's lives in danger with bad decision making.
No, that is the only time that she did it with her own decision.
Mm-hmm.
All the other stuff of like, are we going back for Mark and other stuff, they're all pretty unanimous decisions.
I guess, yeah. But I
suppose there was some things at the end where she's like, you know, take me off the court or I'm going to go and catch Mark.
Oh yeah, she's like, I'm going to do it. It's too dangerous for you to do it. I'm going to do it. Like, you're the captain. Delegate. Like, maybe he's better at it than you. He probably does it more. Like,
yeah.
You know. I mean, it works, but it was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know, I didn't think she was a very good captain. But nothing to do with Jessica Chastain as an actress. I thought she was great. But yeah, she always looked way too, like, perfect. Like, you know, the hair and the makeup and everything. She looked way too pristine.
I mean, I think Kate Mara looked the most
far
pristine.
too young. Yeah. Wait, what is she, like 20?
She didn't look experienced at all.
No.
Because she just didn't have wrinkles.
No, she didn't look like
she looked perfect.
Yeah, she did not look like she had spent like several years in space, or however long it was in space at all. And then Sebastian Stan's in it, apparently.
Yeah, he's so bland.
I genuinely didn't realise he was in it until the film credits rolled. It was like, oh, Sebastian Stan. Oh,
He looks just like John Everyman.
Yeah. I think I might have a little bit of a Chris Evans syndrome with him, whereas I finally figured out what Chris Evans looks like now. But now Sebastian Stan's become famous, I'm like, oh, there's another one. Mm-hmm. I mean, on the plus side, he's called Sebastian, which is not that common of a name, so it's not as bad as when it was just like a sea of bland-looking Chris's. But I'm still like, I don't think I can place him. He just looks like, he's got that hair and beard, generic.
People have called for him to... I mean, if Disney were to do it, if they were to do another Star Wars movie after Episode 6, that he could play Luke Skywalker.
Really?
Because if you actually look at his face, like if you just have him in the right sort of clean-shaven look, he actually looks quite a lot like young Mark Hamill.
Didn't occur to me, but I don't know if I've ever seen him without a beard, so...
Yeah, well, look it up.
Okay, I'll look into that. But yeah, did not need or care about the little love story in the middle.
No, it was odd, wasn't it?
It was like,
what was it there for?
We've not... Yeah, there's a scene when he was out on some mission and Kate Mara... This is Sebastian Stan. And Kate Mara just kind of kisses his helmet and goes, don't tell anyone, and then she floats off seductively. I was like, this is like the second scene we've had you in the whole film. Why are we supposed to care about this?
Yeah.
And then at the end, I guess they get married and have babies and stuff. Okay. I didn't think I needed this plot line. That could have been cut. That could have been on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, that's fair. But also, it didn't take up much time.
No, they didn't waste too much time on it. But it was still like, why is this here?
Yeah.
I was really glad that Matt Damon and Jessica Chastain didn't have a relationship, because I thought it was going to maybe go there. And I was like, no, keep it professional.
Yep.
I was glad that never became a thing.
It was purely just a captain looking out for a crewmate.
Yes.
Which was good.
Yeah. I appreciated her taste in music. So.
Well, what do you think of the soundtrack?
I loved it. I danced twice.
Great. Yeah, I think the soundtrack of this film, there's kind of two soundtracks.
Yeah.
There's the disco CD that he's got with him, which is great fun, and they use for, some of the humour of this film.
Totally, yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'll be honest, I was kind of warm into Matt Damon's character, but then when it was like, I hate all this shitty disco music, I was like, you deserve to die. I'm just waiting for you to die now, mate. Like, if you can't appreciate Donna Summer and ABBA, then...
Yeah.
You can imagine what he's going through up there. I mean, he's 50 million miles away from home. He thinks he's totally alone. He thinks we gave up on him. I mean, what does that do to a man psychologically? What the hell is he thinking right now?
I'm definitely gonna die up here if I have to listen to any more god-awful disco music. My God, Commander Lewis, couldn't you have packed anything from this century? No, I'm not gonna turn the beat around. I refuse to.
What do you think about the other guy, the bald, slightly Russian-looking guy?
Oh, I thought
who
for like...
had nothing to do.
No, I spent like the first half of the film thinking it was Mark Strong. I was like...
Okay, yeah.
I was like, is that Mark Strong doing like a weird Russian accent? And then it wasn't. It was just some Russian actor, I think. Yeah, no.
I guess he was just there to represent a different country.
I guess, true, yeah. Him and Sean Bean. So I guess it was an international thing. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll take it back. Yeah, literally the only thing I remember about him is the scene when he gets the video phone call from his family, and it's like, Jesus Christ, how many kids has he got? Yeah. You have like 8 kids. I was like, you shouldn't be in space. Why are you in space with 8 kids?
And then the final crew member, Michael Pena?
Oh, Michael Pena, yeah, he was good. He was fine. He was definitely one of the... Oh, I'm the quippy one. Like,
yes, he absolutely was.
He was there for Bants, basically.
And it was good Bants.
Officer Bants. It was fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of my drinking games is drink every time he gets shit on. Because he seems like he's the butt of a lot of the jokes. I don't know.
Fair enough, yeah. But it seemed like him and Mark Watney just had that kind of... Like you and me, we just insult each other all the time.
Sure, yeah.
Just felt like that.
Okay, yeah, I guess. But yeah, I did think it was funny at the end when... As you mentioned, there's like a montage at the end when it tells you where they've ended up, and I think Jessica Chastain gets married, and Kate Mara has a baby with Sebastian Stan. Matt Damon has a horrible headpiece on and becomes a teacher. And then Michael Palin just goes back to space again.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah. If this film made me think anything, it's like, Jesus Christ, I never want to be an astronaut.
No, because also...
a horrible job.
He's got a wife and a kid.
Yeah, he clearly does not. He's running from every opportunity.
Yeah.
I was very pleased that they didn't give Matt Damon a wife and kids.
Yeah.
It really cut out what would have taken up a lot of time on boring stuff that I don't care about.
Which is sort of thing that Castaway did.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, we're going to have an hour after the story's finished.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank God Helen Hunt is not in this movie.
Oh, God.
But yeah, and like he briefly mentions his parents, and so he does have people back home, but you don't see them; they're not important.
It just doesn't become a thing because it's not important.
No, it's not. That's not what this story is about at all. So I mean, it humanizes him that he's got people who love him, but that's not what the film is. So I appreciated that because that's the kind of thing again that would have really got ramped up.
Yeah,
I think I thought before going in because I'd seen the trailers, I was under the impression that Kristen Wiig was going to be his wife. And then I was like, wow, she plays his wife in a lot of films. Because like Downsizing as well.
Yeah,
but then she was a whole different character.
Yeah.
What
do you think of the Kristen Wiig? She anything to you?
So she is the media PR person for NASA. I think her role was not scientist.
Yeah.
So that she could be in the room and everyone could explain the science stuff to the not scientists.
They weren't doing much explaining to her though.
No.
To be honest.
Well, I spent a lot of time thinking, okay, so she's the PR person. Like her job seems to be like to spin the stories and control the press, right? So I was like, why is this person constantly in the control room? All of her job could be done by email. She could be in like a different office. Why is she always here? Because she's not playing an active role in any of the actual science stuff, but she's always in the room. But I mean, it was fine. Again, it's just so she can be there.
Well, I mean, maybe as the PR person, her job is to see what's actually going on and know everything, and just know what to let out to the press.
Sure.
Just being like, oh wow, Mark Watney's alive, and this is all happening. Right, I need to put the right spin on this, as opposed to have Jeff Daniels, for example, tell her what the right spin is because that's not his job.
Sure, yeah.
Like, he doesn't necessarily know what's best. I mean, bad example because he seems to.
Well, he's the boss. Yeah. He could tell her what to say, but I think she's more there from a PR perspective.
Yeah.
I think I just found Kristen Wiig a little bit distracting because it was Kristen Wiig. It was just like she was fine.
I didn't.
She wasn't like Donald Glovering it, where she was like, "Oh, you're in the wrong movie." Like she was fine, but it was just a bit like, "Oh, I'm kind of distracted by the fact that you're in this because this film isn't really a you film." You know what I mean? Because she's very much a comedian. I don't know. I did like her serious movie bangs.
Yeah,
she had a very like serious movie haircut going on. It was like, I'm playing a serious role in this one, so I'm blonde and I have a very severe haircut. That I appreciate.
No, I thought she was fine. She's completely just whatever.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't much to the character really. Okay, this is a ridiculous small detail. Her dresses were fabulous. They looked really good on her. Like they were so well fitted.
Never noticed.
They were really well fitted on her. She looked very expensive. I liked it. So anyway, just put it out there.
Great.
What the hell is Project Elrond?
I had to make something up.
Yeah, but Elrond?
Because it's a secret meeting.
How do you know that? Why does Elrond mean secret meeting?
The Council of Elrond is from Lord of the Rings. It's
Lord
the
of-
meeting where they decide to destroy the One Ring.
We're going to call something Project Elrond. I would like my code name to be Glorfindel.
Okay, I hate every one of you.
We've not actually talked about Matt Damon himself and his performance in this.
No.
What did you think?
No, I thought he was good. I know you have this like theory that I hate Matt Damon. I don't know where it comes from. Like we've watched a few really crap films that he was in, but I
think that's probably it. Just the last two films of his that have come out have
been pretty terrible. But Mr. Ripley, one of my favourite films. I think he's great in that. I thought he got it just right. Like I said, I mean, I think I would have liked it more if the film had people who actually looked like scientists, which is why one of my favourite characters was B.D. Wong.
Yeah,
Benedict Wong.
Benedict Wong.
Yeah, because he actually was the only one who looked like a scientist.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good. But yeah, Matt Damon himself, I thought he was fantastic in this. I'm not sure if I can think of somebody who would have been better in the role, and I can't think of a better role for Matt Damon at this point in his career.
No, but I would have been... It's not something I would have really have imagined for him. Like, it's not like a huge stretch, but it's not really the kind of thing I thought he would do. But
not really.
I don't know, because I don't really think of him as being funny. And yet in this he's quite funny, but not like...
Not enough for like it
over
to be
the
a
top
comedy.
Funny. Yeah, that's what I mean. He gets the balance just right, I think, of being like... a character with a sense of humour who is not a comedy character. So
I think that my favourite part of his performance for me was probably... actually, no, there's a few bits. Like, there's that scene at the start where he does surgery on himself.
Yeah.
I think that he does that really well.
He made some great faces.
It is.
His face acting was off the hook.
He did, and it fitted because it made it just horrible to watch.
Yeah, sure.
There's also the bit where he's like screaming in the vehicle because the crew haven't been told that he's still alive or whatever.
Yeah.
He did that pretty well. And then I think that the best bit that he did was when he's sitting in the rocket just about to take off with the tarp over his head, and he just lets out just a sob. Like he just has a little cry to himself.
Yeah, that was really nice.
It was, yeah. It was a really nice touch. It didn't need to be there at all, but it was just like, oh, I'm just saying goodbye to this point in my life. I may die in the next few minutes, or I will live. Like, this is it. This is decision time right here. And yeah, it was a sad little end to his story on Mars.
Yeah, no, it was because again, it really made me think like, fuck, like that's a really intense situation to be in. I don't know, it really struck me because the film didn't like beat you over the head with it. I was just like, my god, the ice. It really unsettled me because I was very tired and like disoriented from like having played Zelda for like 12 hours straight. I was kind of like, fuck. Imagine if you did end up stuck on Mars and like the isolation, like would be crazy. Like, how long do you think you could spend with literally no company whatsoever?
I'm surprised they didn't try and make a Wilson character.
Oh, I'm so glad they didn't.
Like,
I did think, when's he going to start talking to these potatoes?
I was going to say like a little Mars rover. He's got a remote control for it.
I was sure there was going to be like a potato or something. Or like all the potatoes, he becomes like the potato whisperer. Yeah. And then, that's how he makes them grow. Like he talks to them.
Grow, my children, grow.
Yeah. Well, they say if you talk to plants,
Yeah. Oh, it's silly. Do you want to do some drinking games?
Okay, yeah. Drinking games?
Drinking games, right. So, drink for swear words.
Okay.
Because they're not like everywhere. It's like I recently watched The Hitman's Bodyguard with my dad. Didn't remember how much swearing there was in that.
Was it uncomfortable?
A little, yeah.
What's worse for you watching with your parents, sex or swearing?
Swearing.
Really? That's weird. Why?
Well, it's because we don't really watch many sex scenes together.
Oh, true. Okay. Yeah. But, in films.
And when it happens, you're quiet, you look the other way, and then it's over, and then you just never talk about it.
Oh, sure.
It's fine. Whereas with swearing, it always comes up. Dad's like, must they swear so much? And I'm like, well, you know what, fair enough, but it doesn't really bother me that much.
Wow, your dad's lame.
Well, sorry.
I didn't realise he was such a prude. Must they swear? I always thought Mark was cool. That's a real letdown.
Do you not have a crush on him anymore?
No, that's kind of evaporated now.
Okay.
I can't be myself around him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let him know. I'll let him down.
Also swearing, yeah. I can't remember any. I mean, I know there's
like science of shit out of this.
And, yes, okay, that's good.
And yeah, there's a few other little bits like that where a swear word will just become like, well, for example, even written swear words. There's a bit when he's like apparently texting the whole world or something.
Oh yeah, but you didn't see what he said, do you? Because it's like they tell him that they've not told the crew, and then it's like what he says back is unrepeatable.
Yeah.
Like,
well, then somebody does repeat it, but they just keep saying like F word this, F word that. I would say drink for those.
Yeah.
Because they used to good comedic effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Drink for exposition.
Sure, yeah. That's fine.
It's like 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a very exposition-y movie.
But it works well. They do it really well.
Yeah. What did you think of
It's not like M. Night Shyamalan's exposition.
No.
Could you imagine?
Oh, God, yeah. A lot of this I was thinking, wow, Ridley Scott directed this very well. I did find myself thinking a lot, what if other directors... I didn't think of Shyamalan, but I did start thinking, like, what if, like, say, like Michael Bay directed this and it was just a silly action film? Or what if Spielberg had done it and it would have been like, oh, he's definitely going to have a wife and kids there. And she's going to have the whole movie. Like, yeah. So yeah, I think
Damien Chazelle.
It's
starring Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I did think like this is fucking hell. This is like First Man done well. Like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ, that did cross. I wrote that down actually. This is like a non-boring, also not true First Man.
Yeah,
but yeah, like
Ron Howard. What do you think he would have done with this? Obviously, he did Apollo 13.
Yeah, maybe because that's a good film. Again, it probably would have been more sentimental. I liked the lack of sentiment.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one is drink for references to other films, such as Iron Man, Lord of the Rings, and, well, not film, but Happy Days.
Drink for disco.
Yeah.
I danced when Waterloo kicked in, and when I was survived at the end. I had a sofa boogie, it was great.
Yep, great. Okay, yeah. I've got exactly drink for disco as well, those words. Drink anytime anything goes wrong.
Sure, yeah. Like when the potatoes explode or...
Yep. When the potatoes explode, when, like, the storm hits.
Mm-hmm.
When, I don't know, there's not really a lot that goes wrong, to be honest.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's interesting that, like, the film is set up by this terrible storm hitting and nearly killing him. And you think, well, there's going to be a second storm in 4 years, you know. That's going to happen again. Nope. It doesn't. He's just fine.
I did like how many things just weren't ever a factor. Things like, yeah, he's never going to run out of water because NASA have just got that technology down working really well.
Yeah.
Oxygen, almost never an issue, apart from just like occasionally smashing his helmet. Yeah, just things like that you just never really had to think about just because it
did a lot of, like, not Chekhov's guns, like fake Chekhov's guns.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, Chekhov's gun is like if you see the gun.
Yeah.
Like when he digs up the isotope thing, the huge radioactive thing. And it's like, well, as long as this doesn't get damaged in any way, then everything's going to be fine. And then he actually laughs at himself and says, I just said everything's going to be fine. Of course it's not. And I was like, okay, so at some point that's going to start leaking or something.
Yeah.
Nope, it's fine.
Yeah.
And like you said at the beginning, he goes through all these things that could kill him. He's like, well, you know, if the oxygen runs out, or if I starve to death, or if the pressure changes, and I just, you know, and all these things, I was like, well, in any other version of this film, they'd all be actual dangers, but none of it happens. He's pretty much, once he's figured himself out, he's pretty fine.
Yeah. This film could have been a lot more stressful.
It really could, but I'm glad it wasn't. Like I said, I just liked... I'm repeating myself, but I just really liked the fact he was just a smart guy fixing things, just figuring stuff out, and that was the movie.
Yeah.
I wish more movies were like that.
Yeah.
It's very entertaining to watch.
Smart people being smart. It's so entertaining.
Satisfying. It's a satisfying experience.
Makes you
to
feel
watch.
really good about yourself.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. I was like, I'm following this. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, drink every time Jessica Chastain is a bad captain. I mean, I've covered that, but
Yeah,
she just makes a lot of questionable decisions.
Sure. Okay, my next one you've kind of already covered, but drink for any long explanation of a fun technicality.
Okay, give me an example.
That time when he works out that he's a space pirate.
Oh, yeah.
Also that time that he says that, like, I now own Mars or something. I've
Yeah.
colonized Mars.
Yeah.
And everything is just like, so due to this rule and this loophole here and this technicality, I'm a pirate or something. I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It was all consistent with his sense of humour, which
Yes,
I liked. It just felt like, oh, he's just a guy who's got kind of a dry sense of humour, and he's just in... You know, you'd have to make yourself laugh, otherwise you'd just go nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been thinking about laws on Mars. There's an international treaty saying no country can lay claim to anything that's not on Earth. And by another treaty, if you're not in any country's territory, maritime law applies. So Mars is international waters. Now, NASA is an American non-military organization. It owns the HAB. But the second I walk outside, I'm in international waters. So here's the cool part. I'm about to leave for the Schiaparelli crater where I'm going to commandeer the Ares 4 lander. Nobody explicitly gave me permission to do this, and they can't until I'm on board the Ares 4. So that means I'm going to be taking a craft over in international waters without permission, which by definition makes me a pirate. Mark Watney, space pirate.
Okay, so that's Drinking Games done. So before we get to some sequels, I'd just like to let all your listeners know that we are on patreon.com. So if you've enjoyed the episode so far, or any previous episodes, then please go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset, and you can support us there for as much or as little as you like. And no matter how much you donate, because it's pay as you feel, you get all the bonus features, which include a bonus show called Beyond the Box Set, where we review cinema releases. And we just recently finished our Oscar season, where we went through all the Best Picture nominees and a few others, a few other favourites. And that was all a very good time.
It was, yeah. And now it's over.
And now it's over. Now we just wait until next year.
Yes.
No, it's good. The summer blockbusters are
I'm looking forward to
a good
seeing
season.
I'm looking forward to seeing some like lighter films, definitely. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What else do we do? Every patron once a month gets to have a 30-second advert slot on the show. You can advertise anything you like. Can be... I noticed earlier, John, you seem to have 3 washing up liquids on the go. So clearly John really likes washing up liquid. I would highly recommend you get fairy washing up liquid. I believe John would recommend so too.
Yeah, I mean, it does the job, yeah.
It's just better. It gets rid of grease faster. You need to use less of it so it lasts for longer. John doesn't seem to really understand that 'cause he's got 3.
I think I was running low on 1 bottle, and then I replaced it, and then I forgot to replace it and replaced it again. So then, yeah.
Yeah, you never put anything away on your counter.
No, that's true, yeah. Will you please stop criticising the way I live my life, please?
Okay, fine. As a compliment to John, he never has dirty dishes.
Thank you. You're right. No, I don't.
Yeah. What's next? Oh yeah, and once a month we will have a Patreon pick a film for us to do on the main show. If you want to do something that has sequels already, then we'll do that on a bonus show. But either way, you're allowed to guest, obviously, because guesting is great.
Yeah.
So all that's available at patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Hi, I'm Mike from the Genuine Chit Chat podcast, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. I speak to a wide variety of guests, from travellers to musicians to those afflicted with mental or physical illnesses. There's really no subject that's off limits, from movies to politics and even controversial topics ranging from sex to drug reform and political correctness. So if you still believe in the art of conversation, are intrigued by healthy debates with different ideas and perspectives you may not have thought of, and want a podcast where every episode is about something different with a variety of guests, then this may be the podcast for you. You can hear us on YouTube and all your favourite podcast apps, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to hang out and listen to honest conversations with interesting people, then come to Genuine Chit Chat, where I'm your host, Mike Burton.
Alright, so John, do you want to do the first sequel?
Sure, yeah. So we mentioned earlier that this film has a lot of connections with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because it's a big cast. It also has a lot of connections with another film, a film that we did very early into this podcast, a little film called Interstellar.
Okay, yeah. Yes, it definitely does.
Which also stars Matt Damon as a scientist who gets lost in space.
Abandoned on a planet.
Abandoned on a planet, basically, yeah. There was a meme that went around when The Martian came out, which was quite funny, which was like, how much money has the US spent on trying to rescue Matt Damon? Because it was like this, Interstellar, Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. There's lots of films where Matt Damon is lost somewhere or kidnapped, and the American government spends a lot of money trying to get him back. It's like...
Yeah, I guess
he is a liability. Never take him on a mission.
Did you know that I saw Matt Damon on the Graham Norton show after whichever film came second, The Martian or Interstellar?
The Martian was more recent, I think.
Okay, cool. And he said that it was one of the longest gaps he's had in his career between films. It was something like 2 years, I think.
What, between The Martian and Interstellar?
Yeah.
He did nothing in between?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, he took a break, okay.
And yeah, he suddenly found that he just got typecast because he was just playing the exact same character. He just found it really weird.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. So I thought maybe I can draw a little connection between these two films, since they have basically the same plot, or very similar plot points. I guess it's kind of a direct sequel. So it opens and we're going to replay the last maybe 5-10 minutes of the movie The Martian. So when he shoots up into space and he passes out, and then he flies like Iron Man, Jessica Chastain rescues him, pulls him on board the ship, they go home. He has this lovely happy ever after montage where he gets to, everyone has a happy ending, and he gets to be a teacher, and and he gives a very trailer friendly speech. So you see all of that, and you cut back to the spaceship again, and you realise that none of that actually happened.
Right.
What actually happened was that when he passed out, he fantasized about all of that. That was him fantasizing about his rescue and stuff. What actually happened was the MAV, that's what it's called? The motor... I don't know. What does MAV stand for?
I don't know.
The MAV that he's in, that he gets shot in, that's basically just like a bit of metal with a tarp over it, that he gets shot up into space so that they can capture him, basically. That's how they rescue him from Mars. It misses completely.
Right.
And so the crew, Jessica Chastain, Michael Pena and co, are just forced to watch in horror as he basically drifts off into the atmosphere and is never seen again. End. No, just kidding. So yeah, that's it. They fail to rescue him, and he drifts off. So as he drifts out into the atmosphere, a wormhole opens and sucks him in.
Okay.
So then there's going to be a whole wormhole, weirdy wormhole montage, I guess. He wakes up as the black hole wormhole spits him out, and he crash lands on a cold, inhospitable planet. You might start to see where this might be going.
I mean, sorry, did you already tell me where it was going first?
I think I might have already dropped some heavy hints at where this is going. But anyway, so he wakes up on this kind of cold, inhospitable planet. And at this point, he's kind of already gone a little bit mad. He's had a very stressful, 2 years.
Yeah.
He's lost his last chance of being rescued, obviously. And now he's stranded on another shithole planet. So he goes looking for shelter, and he discovers a small outpost. So he investigates, and he discovers that it's not entirely dissimilar to the shelter that he left behind when he was on Mars. Kind of similar, just a kind of a little science base thing. Obviously a temporary base that's been set up.
Yeah.
He bangs on the door, which opens, and he's greeted by himself.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So now he's convinced he's gone nuts. And the other scientist, the other Matt Damon, is equally surprised. But he introduces himself not as Mark Watney, but as Dr. Mann.
Okay.
And Dr. Mann, if you don't remember the plot of Interstellar, which is obviously what I'm crossing over here.
No.
I know, right? Talk about a curveball. So in Interstellar, Matt Damon plays Dr. Mann, who is a character who volunteers to be shot into a wormhole to try and find a habitable planet that Earth can recolonize because Earth is becoming uninhabitable.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's this Dr. Mann. He introduces himself, tells his backstory about how he went for the wormhole, went looking for a habitable planet. Unfortunately, it landed on an icy wasteland that's not habitable for humans at all, and he's now trapped here forever, as per the terms of his, agreement. Basically, they all volunteered, and it's kind of like, well, if you land on a planet that's habitable, great, we'll come rescue you and we'll all come live happily ever after. If you don't, it sucks to be you.
Yeah.
That was basically the situation in Interstellar, and he got a raw end of that deal, so he ended up stranded on this planet forever. So after the two of them kind of science the shit out of the situation a little bit,
Okay.
they deduce that they must be alternate universe versions of each other, each somehow doomed to be stranded alone for eternity, but miraculously brought together by the wormhole.
Okay.
So Mann welcomes Watney to stay with him, because at least then they'll be able to keep each other company during this kind of eternity of solitude. And they spend a few months living together in this little science survival shelter. But the stress of the failed rescue mission and the fact that he now has no possibility of getting home whatsoever has left Watney, the Martian version, quite deeply psychologically damaged. So he's a little bit, tightly wound and generally, on the edge.
Yep.
Worse still, Dr. Mann is a huge fan of disco music. Which he plays all the time.
Okay,
all the
yeah.
greats. He loves ABBA, he loves Donna Summer, he loves the Bee Gees, everything. So he's constantly playing disco music, which just drives Watney completely insane and just absolutely on edge.
Yeah.
So, desperate to get away and not spend the rest of his life in this terrible, hellish situation, Watney starts trying to rig up some kind of distress beacon so he can maybe signal if anyone could potentially hear him that maybe they could come and rescue them. So he starts using his science abilities. He sciences the shit out of it.
Science abilities.
His science abilities, yeah.
Yep.
I'm sticking with it. So he starts trying to build some kind of, distress beacon. Whenever he mentions it to Mann, however, Mann gets very evasive and tries not to get involved. He doesn't really help out at all. So he doesn't, forbid it, but he's just like, yeah, that can be your thing. He doesn't really engage with it particularly. So after months of, trying and failing to get this device set up, because he's a botanist, he's not, building communications devices isn't like his number one field of expertise. So.
Yeah.
So after months and months of failed experiments, Watney gets a little bit stressed out and he confronts Dr. Mann about his refusal to cooperate. He's like, why aren't you helping me? This could save both of us, And eventually Mann cracks and reveals that the outpost is already equipped with a fully operational communications system.
Great.
But he can't use it because the mission he volunteered for, as per Interstellar, explicitly stated that he was only allowed to signal Earth if he landed on a planet that was hospitable. So, as he hasn't landed on a habitable planet, he's just resigned himself to living out his life in solitude, now with his disco-hating doppelganger as his only form of company. So the revelation that Watney could have called for help at any time, that's a big reveal, just shatters his already fragile mind. That just tips him over the edge completely.
Yeah.
And he goes nuts and he murders Dr. Mann. Beats him to death or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he strangles him. Just grabs him by the neck and just pure rage, So he does that, he kills him.
Okay, so you've already missed a bit that I was hoping you were going to do.
Okay.
You remember Alien Covenant, don't you?
Yeah.
Remember Michael Fassbender in that?
Oh, a sexy flute scene. Oh yeah, we could definitely have a sexy flute scene.
Yeah, I was hoping for something there.
Yeah, I did think about that. I guess he'd have sex with himself at some
You
point.
need some company.
Yeah, he'd definitely have sex with himself. It's always the only option. So, yeah, we can have that. We can have that in, definitely.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, good. Matt Damon having sex with himself.
It's all I've wanted.
Good, I thought so. Anyway, so he kills Mann and disposes of the body. And then he figures out the communication system himself that he's just figured out exists. And he falsifies the data to claim that the planet he's on is actually habitable. And he calls out for anyone who receives the message to come and collect him. And then he puts himself into cryogenic sleep and waits to be rescued. And if you've seen Interstellar, you'll know what happens next.
Yeah.
After several years in cryogenic sleep, he's woken up by Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway, and he keeps up the pretense that he's Dr. Mann, the planet is habitable.
Yeah.
But then, ultimately, because he's already gone a bit crazy because of the whole, all the stress of the situation and being a murderer and going through a wormhole and everything, he attempts to kill them too and escape in their ship to try and get home somehow. Not the best thought out plan in the world, but that's what he goes with. And obviously, as per Interstellar, he almost kills Matthew McConaughey, but fails. Then he steals the ship, tries to dock with the main ship, and does it unsuccessfully, and is blown up and blasted into space, where he dies. Which is a pretty horrible end, since the whole film, The Martian, was what he was trying to avoid, and that's where he ends up. So, yeah.
And they lived happily ever after.
Well, I guess they didn't Interstellar sort of did. He didn't, no.
Oh, great, cool.
I was trying to figure out a way to bring Jessica Chastain into it as well, because she's also in Interstellar.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
it's difficult, though.
Yeah, well, she doesn't really communicate with Matt Damon's character at all.
No.
They're not related in any way.
No.
But I guess she's just an alternate version of herself, too.
Yeah, that works.
Maybe we'll do a little scene in the Martian universe, and we'll see that in that universe, Jessica Chastain's dad is played by Matthew McConaughey in some kind of terrible age makeup.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it. Just thought it.
Yeah, very nice. Has it got a title?
Oh no, The Martian 2 Interstellar.
Great.
Not really thought that through.
Cool, well mine does have a title, so you've got something for your episode title.
Oh, good.
So mine is called The Martian 2, Life on Mars.
Oh, very good, okay.
Obviously there will be the David Bowie song at some kind of a montage. So this one is going to pick up much the same. It's a sequel though.
Okay.
It's going to be in a Mars base called the Ares 5.
So it's on Mars, and it's in a base called the Ares 5, okay.
So we're on the Ares 3 in the Martian. We've gone 2 bases up.
Okay, sure. So this is sometime years later then?
Yeah, a couple years later. I'm not sure how many years, but some years later. There are 6 crewmates. They're going to be played all by people who have been in Marvel films.
Oh, okay.
Just because that's
how you roll.
seems to be the theme with this. So the captain is going to be Kobe Smulders.
Oh, yeah.
From How I Met Your Mother and what's that thing she's on there? Friends from College.
Oh, okay, sure. What's she in the Marvel universe?
She is Agent Maria Hill. They're not all A-listers, by the way.
I was going to say, clearly.
She's in the Avengers films.
Oh, sure. Okay. Right.
So there'll be Brie Larson there as well.
Great, okay.
Don Cheadle.
Okay.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Sure.
Because she's good. She should be in more things.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in roles where she's not just playing a voice.
Yeah.
Like she's in Star Wars. Returning cast member Michael Pena.
Okay, he's still on that mission. Cool.
He still hates his family.
Sure, great.
Even more so. And finally, I wanted to cast someone who's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but a classic, Tobey Maguire.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm not like he's not been in a lot recently, and
I'm not bothered either.
I don't miss him.
No, I don't think many people do. No. He's not that beloved.
Well, it's remember in that film Molly's Game where Michael Cera played that.
Oh yeah,
that arsehole poker player, and it turns out that was actually based on the real life Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
that's why he doesn't wear very much anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get a bit of a show around the new Ares 5 base, which is way more advanced than Ares 3 and is actually designed primarily by Mark Watney.
Okay. He's not there though, right?
No, he's not there on this crew.
Because if he goes back, he's crazy. Right?
Yeah. But no, he's designed the new base just to be like, oh, well, these are all the things that were wrong with the old base.
Sure,
and whenever they went wrong, I really could have done with things like a vegetable garden built in, complete with safe ways to create extra water, a compost toilet, rather than just like throwing all your poo outside.
Yeah.
Just, reuse it.
Access to Spotify.
Built-in Spotify and Netflix in every room. Multiple airlocks made of much higher density material, so that if one breaks, it's not going to destroy your entire crop of potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh, and more than one communication system.
Good, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just in case. So, yeah, the base is designed to support 6 people indefinitely.
Okay.
So, forever. It works.
But they're not there forever. It's just like a backup in case something goes wrong.
Pretty much, yeah. But they're there to eventually expand into, a full-on colony as a small city on Mars.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of setting the
groundwork?
Yeah, setting the groundwork. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, Michael Pena hates his family.
Sure.
And anyway, so as seems to happen on Mars, a storm hits. A storm twice the strength of the Watney storm.
Okay.
So Captain Smulders orders the crew to evacuate, and so they all suit up, link each other with a cable, so that none of them get lost.
Okay. It's actually called Captain Smulders.
I'm just not. What do you want me to make up names for people?
No,
like,
sure.
And they'll make a dash for the rocket, climb in, take off without a problem.
Okay.
It's fine. You think it's all fine.
So no one's left behind?
No one's left behind.
Okay.
There's not been any accidents so far. It's just like, abort. We're going home. We're safely going home. It's all fine. Now, during their ascent up through the storm, some of the alarm bells start going off.
Okay.
As something has gone wrong. Engines start failing. The ship starts to lose its course and quite quickly starts to break apart. We see, looking down at the crew in their... You remember that shot of looking down, you see all 6 of them just leaning back on their chairs.
Oh, yeah. Classic space...
Yeah.
Shot, yeah. Shaky cam.
Yes, a lot of shaky cam.
Yeah.
we see like the windows start to crack and fall apart, and at the last moment, the captain pulls the abort lever, and all six crew are ejected from the ship in opposite directions.
Oh, okay.
Seconds later, the ship fully explodes, and we cut to black.
Oh, wow.
Now, back down on Earth.
So they've ejected in...
They've ejected, they're like most of the way up to the atmosphere, they're essentially just doing a big parachute jump now.
Back to Mars?
Back to the Martian surface, because their rocket was about to explode.
Okay.
Cut back to Earth.
Okay.
And we see that instead of in the Jeff Daniels role, we now have Mark Watney.
Oh, okay. He's now become the head of NASA.
Yeah. I mean, I would say he's in the Sean Bean role.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I think that lines up nicely.
Yeah, sure. More of a consultancy. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see him being like the head of the Ares missions.
Sure.
But he's not necessarily the guy who can do all the publicity and be the head of NASA and talk to the president and stuff.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway, so he's doing a press conference, which basically goes the same. He says they've lost contact with the crew of the Ares 5 after a storm hit. Their satellites can see that the crew attempted to take off, but their ship failed to achieve orbit and crash-landed several miles away from the Ares 5 base. He then explains that they are working under the assumption that the crew ejected from the craft safely before explosion, and NASA are already planning a rescue mission.
Okay.
So they do not currently expect anybody to be dead.
Okay. Is this a reverse where they are actually all dead?
No. An end of story.
Very depressing.
No, so by the way, this story is just a stream of thought. I don't know if it actually works as a decent pitch, but we'll see.
Okay.
So
far you've set something up, you know.
Yeah. Cut back to Mars.
Okay.
We pick up with Michael Penna's character.
Okay.
He wakes up in the Martian sand, tangled in a parachute. He looks around, sees he's on his own, bar a few pieces of broken ship, and he says, "Shit, I've become Mark Watney." We follow him as he walks back to the base, which uses up all his oxygen, maybe like his suit's breached or something. And he arrives back crawling and passes out just meters from the front door due to lack of oxygen.
But he does get in.
Shortly after, the front door opens and Brie Larson runs out, drags him in. As soon as the room is pressurised, she removes his helmet, starts performing CPR. He comes to, but due to his oxygen-deprived brain, for a few minutes, he mistakenly takes his most recent thought a bit too seriously, and now purely believes that he is Mark Watney on the Ares 3 mission.
Oh, interesting, okay.
So this isn't going to be the main plot. That's just going to be a whole sort of background comedy thing. So there's going to be bits where Brie Larson's like doing video logs, and like in the background we'll see Michael Penna just like squatting over a box of potatoes.
Okay.
And other stuff like that. It'd be things like, say, he just loses control at one point, goes outside, digs up a nuclear reactor, brings it back inside, and he's just like, warming his hand around it. Even though all the heaters are working and everything.
Sure.
He's just, doing these things. At one point, he gets a bit thirsty and just explodes a barrel of rocket fuel just to try and get some water. It doesn't work. He loses his eyebrows. Permanently.
He sounds like a liability.
At this point he is, yes.
Okay.
So in the meantime, Brie tracks down the locations of the rest of the crew. She finds Don Cheadle has made his way to the Ares 6 launcher, where he's currently living, waiting for the rest of the crew to come to him.
Okay.
She finds the captain and Lupita Nyong'o. They've landed quite close to Mark Watney's original base.
Okay.
And have set up camp there. Because they're women, they are way better at finding things. And they have actually found that in a storage unit behind the base, there's a few tons of earth, soil, and loads of seeds.
Oh, great.
So that saves the whole poo potatoes thing.
Good.
Yeah, they've now got a very successful vegetable garden of, cauliflowers and courgettes, broccoli, and it's going very well.
I did think I could have watched a whole movie of him just like being a botanist. I found that really satisfying.
Yeah, sure, whatever turns you on. The group is nearly full now. The only person that they've not yet found is Tobey Maguire.
Oh no.
Now, once they have found him, they will use the Ares 6 rocket that Don Cheadle found to ascend to orbit, dock with their spaceship, and head home.
Okay.
They'll be absolutely fine. They spend days looking.
Oh, so the ship that exploded was only like the.
That was their Ares 5 launcher, their current mission. Okay. But they're thinking how Mark Watney thinks, and like, oh, there's that other rocket there waiting for 4 years from now, or whatever.
I see, okay.
So yeah, they know what their backup plan is essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, so they spend days looking for Toby, but they never find him.
Okay.
They eventually give up, as it's been way too long for him to survive in just his suit, and they've checked all near bases and rockets that he could have potentially gone to survive a bit longer. They've given up on him completely. They're just going to abandon Tobey Maguire. So they take off, head for their ship in orbit, and as they reach orbit, something hits the ship. It's Tobey Maguire.
What do you mean he hits the ship? Like physically, just smacks into it? Like...
Yeah, he just smacks into it. Turns out he was caught in an updraft in a storm.
Okay.
And his parachute was caught on an updraft.
Okay.
And it sent him up and higher into orbit.
So he's just been like dead orbiting the.
He's just been floating around in space. Due to some miracle, he's actually still alive after a few days of having no food or water,
and being in space.
In a spacesuit.
Okay, sure. Okay.
I don't know. Let's just ignore the logistics and science here because I've clearly messed up.
Okay.
But anyway, they establish radio contact, and he shouts to let him in. They say they can't do that on this ship, but they'll tow him to the main ship.
Okay, sure.
So he just essentially hangs outside of a rocket for a while.
Like a gremlin.
Yeah. So they dock, and they'll get in. They then detach the other ship, and then start letting him in through the airlock. And the captain says that she can't believe that after this significant of an accident has happened, and against all odds, nobody's died.
No, wow.
This is amazing.
I'm sensing a but.
At that exact moment, Tobey Maguire, he floats into the airlock as he's supposed to, but due to his extreme malnutrition, he's just not aware of anything really that's going on. And before the outside door is closed and the room is pressurised, he makes the mistake of taking his helmet off too early.
Oh no.
The end.
Oh, does it just cut to black as is like...
Pretty much,
you see like a bang or something? Like...
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Maybe it's a bit campy and it's just you see through a window and it just explodes in red or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You just see the reactions from different people.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, I think that would work in like a... I think the whole thing was like a comedy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's how you wrote it, like a Starship Troopers-y kind of thing. Like
that's kind of where it went. I mean, it's not where I initially wanted it to go, but
no, I think that'd be... Yeah. Because if you've only got the one character, like he's just funny on his own, but if you've got like a group, they could like actually bounce off each other. So yeah, I think that could work.
Yeah, I was going to do a whole thing about them actually building this civilization on Mars and turning it into a city and maybe doing different plots there, and perhaps they actually find Martian life or something. But no, this is just what it turned into.
Okay.
But, don't know if the title fits, but there is The Martian 2: Life on Mars.
Okay, no, I think that's very much doable. Yeah, okay.
It's completely stupid.
Well. Yeah.
I would have fun with it, though.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun, light-hearted sequel to a fun, light-hearted film. So.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Shall we get to some listener submissions?
Yeah, we better had. I've got a fair few. In fact, I've got loads. Okay, so Rory Spence says the Mercurian, the Venusian.
Yeah,
I could do 5 more of these, but I'm sure you get the point.
Yes.
I mean, I had to start with that one because, let's be honest, we had a few.
Yes.
And then Phil Better replied saying, but Rory, what's the story? And then Rory said, man, science is the shit, out of an inhospitable planet, and then moves on to the next one.
Okay, just travels across the solar system.
Yeah, I like it. Phil Better himself, he says, it's 5 years later and there is another manned mission to Mars. This time they're putting space station in orbit so they don't make the same mistake as last time, but something has awoke on the surface of Mars. Something evil. Welcome to Ghost of the Martian.
Oh, okay. I think that's a film. Yeah.
Sure. It's a good title anyway. Dante Pernell says, years later, Earth sends another mission to Mars after noticing that the spot where Matt Damon's character was seems to have changed. When they get there, they find that the plants, mostly potato, he had left there, have mutated and mingled with the machines that were left behind to create a strange mutated Mars garden. As they explore it, it starts trying to kill them. Maybe the plants take over the ship, and boom, we've got another thriller with a bit more horror this time to save the team from Mars again.
Oh, okay, I like that. Like it's become like I was thinking about the plants had become like from Rocky Horror Picture Show or something. Like, like Seymour or something.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Not Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors.
I get mixed up too.
Yeah.
I mean, when Dante put this, I was thinking more Annihilation.
Yeah. Oh, that could work too. Yeah.
But either way, yeah. Tyler Thornton, he says, The Martians. This time, 2 astronauts are stranded on Mars. It's a man and a woman. They ended up having a kid together while on Mars, and they get rescued around her 18th birthday, when travel to Mars becomes a relatively easy thing that normal people can just do.
Okay.
So her parents decide to stay on Mars, but she travels, brackets invades, to Earth for college, where she eventually meets a guy named Greg Fokker.
Okay.
Third film, Meet the Martians.
Oh, God.
A young man's first visit to his girlfriend's parents' house turns out to be more nightmarish than he could ever have imagined when he discovers they live on an inhospitable red planet. I like it just because it's so stupid.
That was stupid.
James Ingram's got, this is a really good one here, Sean Bean as a golf teacher, like in the epilogue. That's the movie.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yep. I guess he dies at the end.
Sure.
I would like it if he did.
Yes.
Sean Bean should die more often.
I mean,
what's going to happen when he actually does?
No one's going to believe it.
That's going to be really weird. Maybe he never will.
No, he'll live forever.
Okay, Sam Williams says, what about film about the guilt Ben Affleck's character feels after realising he had just told Mark Watney that the best part of his day is the 10 seconds before picking him up and thinking that he'll knock on the door and Watney won't be there?
Oh, do you get that reference?
I do. I really like that.
Okay, yeah, that's good, yeah.
Initially when I started reading it, I was like, Ben Affleck wasn't in this.
Okay.
Anyway, Daniel Roy says, get this, it's set in 3020, all humans have left Earth and most live on Mars.
Okay.
Matt Damon's descendant is on a final mission to collect artifacts from Earth, but A storm separates him from his crew, who are forced to launch their ship and head back to Mars. Matt Damon's descendant, played by Matt Damon, is left completely alone on a post-apocalyptic Earth. He survives by growing avocados.
Nice.
Yep. The Venusian. It's basically The Martian, but on Venus, starring Matt Damon. After years of training astronauts, Mark Watney gets bored and rejoins the astronaut program. He is chosen to be one of the first men to land on Venus, and boom, he gets left behind again. And this time, there are aliens who are very hospitable and allow him to stay with them, and all he wants to do is phone home.
Okay, interesting. Isn't Venus, like, super hot?
Which one's Venus?
I think it's, like, further away. I feel like Venus is, like, too hot to live on. I might be wrong. I don't know.
I forget which planet it is that's closer to us on the sun side of our orbit, if that is Venus or not. But if it is, I believe that you can live on like the horizon. What do you call it? The horizon? I don't know, but just on the edge.
Okay, sure.
So you're not in direct sunlight, but you're also not on the dark side of it.
Okay,
I think. I don't know.
Okay. Does that change as it orbits? Like the bit that's in exposure?
I'm not sure. I might be getting my planets mixed up, but there is one of the planets that actually orbits kind of the same how the moon does.
Mm-hmm.
Like one side always faces us.
Okay.
And so of that planet, one side always faces the sun.
Ah, okay.
So there is literally a bright side and a dark side.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Science facts with Harry.
Yeah. Can't tell you for a fact which planet that is, though, so not great science. Johan Davis-John says Matt Damon versus Martin the Martian, Dawn of Justice.
Okay.
Establishes a cinematic universe nice and early. He says he wants to establish that he doesn't mean Mark Watney, he means celebrated actor Matt Damon.
Okay.
With all the skills he learned from the characters he's played, fighting Martin the Martian on Mars.
Who's Martin the Martian?
Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that Marvin the Martian?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, he wrote Martin, but...
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Marvin, but sure.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Anyway, The Martian 2, Trouble in Paradise, the same movie, but it takes place almost exclusively in Hawaii.
How does that work?
It's from Stuart McCone. He's stranded in Hawaii. No one knows he's there.
I mean, Hawaii is not that difficult to get on and off. Unless everyone else left Hawaii. It's just him.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe you can coincide it with that one set like 1,000 years from now. Everybody's left to Mars and
I see. He's the last one.
Happens to be in Hawaii. He's just having a great time.
Yeah.
Vamsi B says that the Martian meets Thanos and they science the shit out of farming.
Okay, is that something Thanos has displayed an interest in? Farming?
Yeah, just make loads of crops, I guess. And
sure.
At the end of Infinity War, he's on a farm or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Justin A. Sullivan says The Martian 2, Back in the Habit, which I like. Good, yeah. But then somebody replied, actually, The Martian 2, Back in the Habitat.
Back in the Habitat, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
I'm really happy with that. Scott Taylor says they get to Mars after the snap, and Damon is turned to dust, and the whole mission is a waste of time. The Thanos snap. All the farming one, I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Simon Monk Tripman says the obvious answer is going to be different planets. Oh, wait a minute, we started with this one. So yeah, there it is.
Okay, very good.
What have you got?
I've got a few as well. Okay, so again, Adam Capitanio said the Venusian. I think we've had that already.
Yeah.
Andrew Liefering said Matt Damon goes back into space to explore an asteroid, but he has to overcome his distress at how much it looks like a potato.
Nice.
Very good, yeah. Vanessa Riley said the Martians. 3 Martians are stranded on Earth. Survival isn't an issue, but the culture shock is huge. So. David Rollinson said The Martian 2, send him back. Clearly not a Matt Damon fan.
No.
Jed Jong said The Martian, bringer of war. A return expedition to Mars finds that it is home to Mars, the god of war. NASA should have seen it coming. So.
I'm sure, yep.
Maybe, I wonder if it's Mars, the god of war, as played by David Felwis in the Wonder Woman films. So. David Handloss also said The Martian 2, finding the way to Uranus.
Oh dear.
That one writes itself. Nick Denny, men are stuck on Mars, women are stuck on Venus. Right, that's good, I like that.
Yep, sure.
Walt Williams, also probably clearly not a Matt Damon fan, says Matt Damon lands on the sun. It's a short movie. Wow, a lot of hate for Matt Damon.
Yeah. See, this is what I was expecting from you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the last couple of years Matt Damon's popularity has taken a big dip. He's made some poor choices, but I don't hate him.
Sure.
Inbal Sinai said The Martian 2. Matt Damon returns to Mars to prove that you can also grow poop tomatoes and not just poop potatoes. Proving his poop French fries with ketchup theory. He wins the Nobel Prize at the end of the movie.
Nice.
So, great.
Nice.
Over to Twitter, @Cecil Hops says, after his gaming skills apply to Mars, we learn that some bacteria were left behind, and due to the radiation it mutates and becomes aliens. It's a prequel to Mars Attacks.
Ah, okay.
That's good, yeah. @Quiz and Hers said, 15 years later, NASA are establishing the first permanent Mars base and pull Mark Watney out of an idyllic retirement to lead the mission, because he knows more about surviving long-term on Mars than anyone. The film follows him and a young hotshot crew struggling to survive the harsh environment and each other. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong, until, in the end, twist, it turns out Watney was sabotaging the mission the whole time and killing the crew members in accidents to ensure Earth never colonised Mars. So make Matt Damon the villain.
Yeah.
That's good. It's probably just going to be called The Martians, in the great tradition of pluralising sci-fi titles such as Aliens, Predators, etc. Very good. Foss Starts Pod just said, The Martins. Matt Damon's time on Mars has warped his face. He now looks like comedian Lee Evans. And he's married to Kathy Burke. The sequel is a low-budget, early 2000s British dramedy that nobody but me seems to remember. So I guess that's... Do you remember The Martins?
Nope, never heard of it.
But, yeah, apparently it was a thing. We Watch Anything, at We Watch Anything. The Merman. After an undersea drilling platform collapses and the escaped submarine is jettisoned to the surface, a lonely marine biologist and veterinary surgeon, played by Jesse Plemons, i.e. Meth Damon or Fat Damon, depending on when you talk about him, is left at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Upon realising that he won't be rescued, he performs self-surgery and gives himself gills. Soon he adapts to life under the sea, living off krill and cultivating phosphorescent plants for light. When he is eventually rescued by a complicated manoeuvre involving pulleys, he is brought to the surface, where he spectacularly and explosively repressurises. It's a tragedy.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it. That was great.
Yeah. Poor Jesse Plemons. Can't catch a break. Blokebusters at Blokebusters said, I don't honestly have a suggestion for this one. However, I do like to think that Matt Damon ends up becoming the next Flex Tape guy and becomes a viral sensation. I mean, Flex Tape, it's a YouTube guy who does loads of crazy stuff with duct tape.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Blokebusters also says, having said that, I think a film where we see a future missions being secretly sabotaged by Matt Damon, so nobody ever has to go through what he did again, will be interesting to see. So that's two people like that idea. Titled No More Martians. And finally, One Good Thing at One Good Thing, it said, this could legitimately just be Interstellar. So, yeah, same thought process as me.
Yep.
And yeah, those are our listener submissions for this week. If you have a sequel idea for Interstellar or any film we've done in the past, please let us know. We are Beyond the Box Set. You can find us at beyondtheboxset.com. Our podcast is available on all good podcasting platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Acast, you name it, we're on it. If we're not on it, let us know. We will get on it. You can also find us at beyondtheboxset.com or on social media, on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Just search Beyond the Box Set or at Beyond the Box Set on Twitter. Our Patreon is patreon.com/Beyond the Box Set, and we have exclusive merchandise available at tpublic.com. Again, just search Beyond the Box Set. And Harry, what's happening next week? Do we have a guest?
Yes, we do, John. Next week I've got a guest on. As you may have heard from the start of the episode, I've helped start a network, Pave Media, and we actually just accepted our first new podcast.
Cool.
It's a podcast called Fake Nerds.
Fake Nerds, okay.
They do... Well, they seem to just go through pop culture news of the week, and they do it exceptionally well.
Okay.
So I'm very proud to have them join the network. And I thought I'd help introduce them by having their main host, Brandon T. McClure, come on.
Okay.
I may have mispronounced his surname then. Don't know how, but... McClure.
I'm sure he'll correct us next week.
Yeah. So he's going to come on and do a film called John Carter.
Ooh, exciting. Another Taylor Kitsch classic.
Yeah. Who?
The guy from Battleship.
Oh, the main character from Battleship?
Yeah.
Ooh.
The main actor from Battleship, yeah.
Ooh.
They put him in like 3 really expensive films in the same year and they all bombed and he was never seen again.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I wonder why they thought he was good.
They just thought he was going to be the next big thing.
Okay.
I think he was on like one of those TV shows like, I don't know, what's that one where everyone's a vampire? Not Buffy.
True Blood?
True Blood. I think he was on like True Blood or something. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, he's going to be the next hot Tom Cruise superstar. And then it's like, oh no, he can't act.
Lovely. Cool. Okay, well, everybody join us next week for John Carter. Bye.
Oh, sorry, yeah, well, see you.
Wow.
Sorry, I took an ill-timed drink then. Let's do that again. Yes.
I think that's a great time to end.
Okay,
so,
great. Yeah, well, bye everyone.
Bye.
Oh God.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I hate every one of you.